Elusive from 2022 is a Bigfoot comedy that actually manages to pull on the heartstrings a little bit. And I really do mean just a little bit. 90% of this movie are dumb jokes. Some hit, some miss, but make it to the end and I guarantee you'll laugh, you'll cry, and you might even find yourself buying a bloomin' onion for Brandy May. First off, Elusive is kind of a spoof on unsolved mysteries. And honestly, I kinda like it. The music really takes you back to the 90s. Our story takes place in Lofa, Oklahoma. And lately, they've had a lot of Bigfoot sightings. More than 30 in this small town in just the last month. That's why Wayne's here, to interview the witnesses and then do some first-hand investigating. The first couple they interview is Brandy May and her husband Austin. There's an ongoing joke that Brandy is the most sought-after woman on the planet. Men and women both just want to be with her, and she's constantly having to reject their offers of Outback bloomin' onions. But I guess she made an exception for Bigfoot, because she claims to have had a three-way with him. Now, usually I just leave this raunchy stuff out of my reviews, but it is important to the story, trust me. Brandy and Austin are on their back porch smoking cigarettes when they spot the creature. Long story short, they invite him in and he convinces them to open up their marriage. And they do the dirty. It's dumb. Moving on. They really have no way of proving their story, except Wayne does find some hair that he sends away to be tested. So there's that.
Brandy May, just give me a chance.
Brandy May, I brought you to tell the witch.
Now they move on to Bert and Randy Hayes, two brothers that had a very different encounter with the beast. They were out camping, chopping firewood and fishing, you know, all the normal stuff you do while camping. And eventually, in the dead of night, they saw the creature, 8 foot tall, 350 pounds, and it seemed to have an aura about him.
Looking into your soul.
Randy gets a little tinfoil hat conspiracy for a bit, thinking the government is trying to build an army of Bigfoots. But the brothers have a secret weapon, a scrapbook written by their grandpa, who had his own encounters with the beast. Inside, he's written 2 rules. 1. You'll know you're in the presence of a Bigfoot when you see his devil nets, sticks and bones of his enemies hung up on the trees. And 2. Corn nuts. Bigfoot loves corn nuts.
Yeah, corn nuts. Bigfoot loves corn nuts.
To help them fight, the brothers started the direct union to make Bigfoot absent swiftly and suddenly.
Task force.
And that's really it for our eyewitness stories. Just 2. One group had sex with Bigfoot, and the others want to hunt him down. Both Wayne and the director/cameraman Jimmy can see the obvious signs of a hoax right off the bat. But after an inspiring speech from Wayne, Jimmy agrees to continue on. But is he really here to hunt Bigfoot? He tells us that it's his job to tell us the truth, and he thinks that Wayne's lying. Jimmy says he looks familiar, but he just can't place it. He now plans on making a documentary within this documentary to figure out exactly what Wayne's up to. The next day, they talk to Sheriff Deputy Sharon, who's pretty excited to be on camera. She does go on to say that just last night she was out patrolling and she found a recliner sitting on the road. Her aunt needed a new one, so she saw it as a win-win. What she didn't see was right behind her, Bigfoot was taking a stroll in the shadows. This would be kind of spooky if it wasn't such an obvious fake suit. There are footprints here and there, and it's just as good of a lead as any. These are the woods that Jimmy and Wayne will set up base camp in to do their research. Back to Jimmy for a minute, who thinks he knows what Wayne's true motive is.
Wayne Nicholson is collaborating with the Bigfoot to blow up the city and use the insurance money that he gets from blowing up the city to manufacture heroin.
I guess that's the only reasonable explanation. Finally, after wandering around the woods for a couple of days, the guys find a suitable campsite, and they settle in for the night. Jimmy tries to loosen up Wayne into coming clean about his real intentions, but his plan actually backfires. He says he's out here for hope and redemption. He's here for his son. He wants to make a movie of him catching his son's favorite cryptid, Bigfoot. More on that in a bit. The next morning, Jimmy yells out a wake-up call.
Good morning, Vietnam! What's up, did you hear me? I was quoting Steve Carell from The Office.
But Wayne doesn't seem to be so chipper. Something stole their food in the middle of the night. They could hike back to the car, but then they'd lose 2 days of filming. Wayne begs Jimmy to keep going on, despite only having one Nutri-Grain bar to eat. Jimmy spends most of the morning going around the woods and getting B-roll.
Oh, hey, there's something. Who gives a
But when he comes back to camp, he spots it. Bigfoot! Excited, Jimmy records the beast, but Wayne is noticeably absent. Once Bigfoot gets a hold of Jimmy's MacBook, he runs after the creature. I get it, a MacBook's worth more than your life.
Get your f***ing hands off my laptop, you f***ing Sasquatch!
Well, the beast drops it and runs off, but that's when Jimmy goes through all the footage he had. He hid some cameras up in a tree, and while he was out getting that B-roll, surprise, surprise, Wayne was dressing up as Bigfoot. He comes clean, admits that it was him all along. All the sightings in the town, everything was just a hoax. But then that means him and Austin and Brandy May? Okay, moving on. So why do all this? Well, it really is just to impress his son. He went to career day and was in front of the class talking about his job as a plumber, when one of the kids asks him if he touches poop. All the other kids laugh and join in, and heck, even the teacher makes fun of him. Well, this video makes its way onto YouTube and the memes started. And then, boom, Wayne's now fart dad. His wife left him, and now his son won't even look him in the eye anymore. He thought if he could capture Bigfoot on film, his son would think he's cool again. The next morning, Jimmy's gone. He left a note with some rather foul language, but really he just snuck away. This is the exciting Act 2 of the movie, where the main characters have an argument, but in the end they'll meet back up and move on to the final act. Jimmy was pretty hard on Wayne for fabricating everything, when, in the end, he was really only doing it for his son. Jimmy wants to make a movie for 5 billion people to see, but Wayne only wants one. It's now nighttime and the two are still split up, apparently even more lost. In the morning, they both wake up to talk about a strange dream they had. They were both wandering around a house, watching Bigfoot get ready for the day, just brushing his teeth, combing his hair, stuff like that. This is the first sign of a Bigfoot possession. Just then, Sheriff Deputy Sharon tackles Jimmy, mistaking him for a kidnapper. Wait, what's going on now? Well, Brandy May and Austin were out here in the woods camping when the Hayes brothers attacked Austin and kidnapped him. Brandy called Shannon, who now has the hots for her, and asked for her help. Together, they find Wayne, and him and Jimmy make up. So we must be on to Act 3. Brandy mentions how when the brothers attacked, they both had no emotion and blank eyes. Wayne knows that this is no coincidence. He read in the brothers' scrapbook that Bigfoot can infiltrate your dreams and control your mind. The only way to break the spell is to know the unique key phrase. The search continues until they find some devil nets hanging from the trees, and the groups are split up. But it's weird. It's kind of like they're in two separate dimensions. I don't know. At night, the guys find the deputy sheriff's copy of the Constitution that she always kept on her, and they also find some corn nuts Brandy May was carrying. Looks like they're getting close to them, and soon they run into the girls. Brandy takes off running, having heard her husband in the woods, and when we catch up with her, we see it was all a trap. The brothers are there, surrounded by a bunch of dynamite. Bigfoot speaks through them, and yeah, it's a possession. The group quickly yells out a bunch of words, hoping to find the right ones that'll break the spell, but nothing works.
Alternative facts.
Second cousins don't count.
Silence!
Finally, Bigfoot tells him what he wants. Corn nuts. That's it. Just give the guy some corn nuts and he'll leave him alone. Wayne throws him the bag, but it was open, and they go all over. Now the beast is furious, and everyone again starts yelling out random words in hopes of snapping the brothers out of it. Finally, Wayne figures it out by reading the Second Amendment in the Constitution. Everyone runs and they blow up the dynamite, hoping to kill Bigfoot in the explosion. But I guess he avoided the blast, and he attacks the group. Somehow, they all make it out alive, and we see their final interviews. Brandy and Austin are now monogamous, but they do offer Wayne a bloomin' onion and give him an invitation if they ever do decide to open up again. The brothers went on to stop hunting Bigfoot and are now coexisting with the beast. In fact, they started a new group to raise awareness.
It's called Folks Using Common Knowledge Against Bigfoot's Unusually Tenacious Telepathy Support Group.
And what about Sheriff Deputy Sharon? Well, it turns out she wasn't a cop at all, but she was actually trying to blow up the town to collect the insurance money to start a drug empire. Huh, who would have known? That leaves us with just Jimmy and Wayne. Wayne's son got to see the movie his dad made for him, and although he's more interested in his phone, he does admit that it was pretty cool.
Really cool, I guess.
Which, in the end, is all his dad wanted to hear. Furthermore, Wayne just got off the phone with a mayor in Mexico, and it looks like they got a new case, hunting the chupacabra. And that was Elusive. I told you you'd think this is a dumb movie, but yet it'll still make you feel something too. I'm kind of reminded of 15 Things You Didn't Know About Bigfoot. Number 1 will blow your mind. And while Elusive has a much shorter title, they're pretty similar in their humor. I wasn't really on board in the first 20 minutes or so, but once you learn a bit more about Wayne and his son, I got hooked. It probably helps that Brad Chad Porter, who played Wayne, did such a great job. He's funny when he needs to be, and downright sad when it calls for it. Jimmy was pretty funny too, and most of the jokes did get me to laugh out loud. My only complaint would be the whole three-way bit, and some of the supporting cast didn't hold up to their end of the script. And, well, not having a good Bigfoot suit. I get that most of the time it was supposed to be Wayne in a cheap-looking costume, but even when it was Bigfoot, it was just a guy painted brown. The whole time, I was really hoping we would see an actual Bigfoot-looking like costume. But don't let that stop you from watching Elusive when you want to watch a Bigfoot movie and have a good laugh. I give it 3 bloomin' onions out of 4.
Hey, Jimmy. This is a reminder for yourself to actually go back and buy all the stock footage you've been using.
Fun fact, this movie actually did make me crave Outback, and the next day after watching it, I went there to eat. But I forgot to order a bloomin' onion.